Welcome back to Movie IQ, your home for the best movie rankings, recommendations, and recaps across every genre out there. Today, we're diving into one of cinema's most provocative and emotionally charged categories, cheating wife romance films. These are the stories where loyalty is tested, temptation wins more often than it should, and marriages crumble under the weight of desire. From quiet European dramas to fiery Latin American thrillers, today's countdown spans continents and decades, but they all share one thing in common: a woman caught between the safety of her vows and the pull of forbidden passion. We've ranked these 5 films using their official IMDb ratings, counting down from number 5 to the most acclaimed pick at number 1. So if you love complicated love triangles, moral gray areas, and the messy fallout of infidelity on screen, stick around, because this countdown has something for everyone. Let's get into it. Starting off our countdown at number 5 is Pleasure and Martyrdom, released in 2015, sitting at a 4.5 on IMDb. This Argentine drama follows Delfina, a 45-year-old woman living a life many would call comfortable. She's married to a faithful husband, raising a teenage daughter, and never wanting for financial security. On paper, her world looks settled, even enviable. But comfort and contentment are not always the same thing, and Delfina's restlessness sets the story in motion. Through a close friend, she's introduced to Camille, a man presented to her as a powerful, high-ranking businessman with the kind of charisma that immediately draws her in. What begins as innocent curiosity quickly tips into something far more dangerous, as Delfina finds herself pulled into an affair that threatens everything she's built. At number 4, we have Amor Bandido, the 2021 Argentine erotic thriller holding a 5.2 rating on IMDb. The story centers on Joan, a sheltered 16-year-old boy and the son of a powerful federal judge, a relationship that's already strained long before any affair enters the picture. Joan falls hard and fast for Luciana, his 35-year-old art teacher, and what starts as a secret, forbidden flirtation soon escalates into something neither of them can easily walk back from. After lying to everyone close to them, the two run away together to a remote country house, hoping to finally be alone with their feelings. But Amor Bandido isn't interested in giving its audience a fairy tale. Almost as soon as the couple settles in, Joan begins to realize that nothing about this getaway is what it seemed, and the romance he thought he was chasing turns out to be far darker and more dangerous than he ever imagined. The film blends romance with crime and psychological tension, using the age gap relationship as the entry point into a much more unsettling story about manipulation and survival. Coming in at number 3 is Tiger, Blood in the Mouth, the 2016 Argentine drama sitting at a 5.5 on IMDb. The film follows Ramon Alvia, a professional boxer who's collected international titles over the years, but is now staring down the end of his career, unwilling to let go of the spotlight that's defined his entire adult life. Ramon has a wife and kids waiting for him at home, a life that should feel like enough. But when he starts training alongside Deborah, a younger boxer with her own fire and ambition, something reignites in him that has nothing to do with the sport. Their connection moves quickly from professional respect to a heated physical affair that pulls Ramon further away from the family he's supposed to be protecting. The film leans into eroticism just as much as drama, using the boxing ring as a backdrop for a much messier fight happening outside of it, between loyalty and desire, between fading glory and a new obsession. Reviewers have pointed out that this isn't really a sports movie at heart, since the fights are kept short and almost secondary to the emotional unraveling between Ramon and Deborah. It's a story about a man chasing one last rush of feeling like he matters, even if it means blowing up everything stable in his life to get there in the process. At number 2, we land on Fidelity, the year 2000 French drama from director Andrei Zulawski, holding a 5.6 rating on IMDb. Sophie Marceau stars as Clélia, a talented young photographer who lands a high-profile job at a sensationalist Paris tabloid. There she meets 2 very different men who will define the rest of the film. Cleve, a respected middle-aged book editor who quickly becomes her husband, and Nemo, a reckless, magnetic fellow photographer who refuses to stay just a colleague. Loosely based on the classic French novel The Princess of Cleves, Fidelity takes its title seriously, following Clélia as she fights to honor her marriage vows even as her attraction to Nemo grows impossible to ignore. What makes this entry stand out from typical cheating storylines is the restraint at its center. This isn't a film about acting on temptation so much as the agony of resisting it, while a suspicious husband assumes the worst is already happening. Add in a subplot involving tabloid scandal and a media mogul with his own tangled history, and you get a sprawling, nearly 3-hour meditation on marriage, desire, and self-control. Critics have called Marceau's performance one of her best, precisely because she carries that internal conflict so convincingly. It's old-fashioned in its values, but anything but tame in its execution, earning its well-deserved runner-up spot on this list. Topping our countdown at number 1 is It Boy, the 2013 French romantic comedy and the highest-rated film with a 6.3 score on IMDb. The story follows Alice Lantons, a 36-year-old woman working at Rebelle magazine who's hit a wall in her career. Her buttoned-up image is exactly what's holding her back from the promotion she wants. Everything changes when Balthazar, a much younger man, returns a USB drive she lost, and the two strike up an unexpected connection.
To shake off her uptight reputation at work, Alice starts letting colleagues believe she's dating Balthazar, using the age gap romance as a kind of image makeover. But pretend relationships in movies rarely stay pretend for long, and Alice slowly finds herself genuinely falling for a man half her age, blurring the line between strategy and real feelings. It Boy leans fully into rom-com territory, trading the heavier moral weight of the other films on this list for charm, humor, and the very French tradition of stylish, lighthearted, infidelity-adjacent storytelling. Critics have noted it follows a familiar formula: the fake relationship, the inevitable reveal, the messy fallout, and the happy ending.
And that wraps up our countdown of the top 5 cheating wife romance movies, ranked from IMDb's lowest to highest rated picks. Let us know in the comments which one of these you're adding to your watch list, or if we missed a cheating wife movie that deserves a spot on this list. If you enjoyed this ranking, make sure to like the video, subscribe to Movie IQ, and turn on notifications so you never miss our next countdown. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.